All right, example 4, exercise 4, we've got a simple random sample of 200 residential students, so I'm immediately pick out what my n is. My n is going to be 200. All right. Found that 144 of these students were satisfied with the quality of their cafeteria food. And so you can tell just from the setup alone, even if you didn't look at anything else below the wording, you can tell that this is a proportions problem. All right, and so we're asked in part A to compute p hat, that's the sample proportion, and its standard error. So for p hat you know is just the number of, quote, successes. Remember, successes are just the outcome that we're looking for over the total number of people that you sampled. And so this would be, p hat, of course, is 144 divided by 200. Please compute that, and you'll get 0.72. So there's that. Let me remind you of the formula for the standard error. So the standard error for p hat is the square root of, and you use p hat, and then you go 1 minus p hat, and then you divide everything by n. So that's the formula that I want to use. And so this thing becomes, the standard error, we'll just say SE for p hat, that's common notation. Is, okay, well, it's the square root of 0.72 times 1 minus that. We can do in our heads and get 0.28, and then we're going to divide by 200, and you can compute that, and you'll get 0.0318. So I've got p hat over here, and then I've got the standard error over here. Maybe I'll actually write down the standard error for p hat again so that I can circle the whole thing. Okay, so with that in mind, we're asked to find a 99% confidence interval for the proportion of all residential students who are satisfied with the quality of their CAF food. We can just write it down. Let me remind you maybe of the formula first of all. So the formula goes here. You take your p hat and you do plus or minus your critical value z star times the standard error. I'll just write it out. It's times p hat 1 minus p hat over n. Okay, so keep in mind that when you're working with proportions, they follow a normal distribution. So you actually use a z right here. And if you look at your final exam formula sheet, we actually list out the z star associated to the 99% confidence level. You might even remember it. It's 2.576. And so at this point, we just plug everything in, and we can write down 0.72 plus or minus 2.576 for our z star. Now, I could plug everything in here, but I already did it up there. I've got it right here, so I'm just going to multiply that times 0.0318. And when you do, you'll get 0.72 plus or minus 0.0819. And I'm happy just stopping right there. We're asked to find the margin of error. You should just recognize this part is the margin of error. Here's your estimate for p hat, and there's how much error. You could be off by about 8%. So it could go all the way up to about 80 or all the way down 72 minus 8%. So the margin of error is just 0.0819. We usually label that with an M, and I'll just circle that. So there's exercise 4.